In today's video, we're going to talk about the advantages of eating one meal a day. Now, of course, the main thing that people talk about when they talk about OMAD, eating one meal a day, is that it helps you lose weight. And that was the main reason I started eating this way, because I wanted to lose weight. And it did do that for me. What I was surprised to find about OMAD was that there were advantages to eating this way aside from weight loss. The first big advantage is that it clears out a lot of time in my day. You know, when I was obese, a lot of my day was taken up by food. You know, I'd wake up, have breakfast, then, have snacks in the morning, and then eat lunch, and then have snacks in the afternoon a lot of times, and, then have supper, and then have more snacks. So a lot of my day was filled up with food. And so just when I went down to one meal a day, it gave me a lot of time. Another benefit is that it's cheap. Eating one meal a day just means you have to buy just food just for that one meal. Traditionally, a lot of times monks would eat one meal a day, and this goes back to because it's really cheap to do it that way. Now, you can, of course, instead of just buying the normal food that you would buy and save money, you can cancel this out simply by, just buying expensive food, which is what a lot of us tend to do. We're just used to spending a certain amount on food. And so if you're going to be spending a certain amount, you're just going to buy more expensive stuff. But it doesn't have to be that way. If you need to save money, then one meal a day is a great way to do it. The third advantage is that it builds discipline. Now, in the beginning, there is, more dealing with hunger and that type of thing. But really what OMAD does is it makes you mentally disciplined. So, in the course of a day, it's really tempting to just want to eat, to just eat for, reasons other than you're hungry, just eating because you're procrastinating, things like that. But if you make eating one meal a day your discipline, it causes you to have to, every day practice that discipline. And I've definitely found that that spreads into other areas of your life in a good way. The fourth advantage is that it makes food taste amazing. The thing about OMAD is that, things that I used to think really had no flavor, just kind of meals that I would kind of like take it or leave it, things like beans and rice. Once I went to one meal a day, it's like, wow, it tastes great. You really appreciate the food when there's just that one meal. If you're kind of eating all day, I guess maybe your taste buds just kind of, they grow used to just having food all the time. But if you don't eat until, say, supper, it's like your taste buds really just come alive. And that just makes the meal a lot more enjoyable. The fifth advantage is it's just so much easier to eat one meal a day. And what I mean by that is when you just eat one meal, you have to just think about, plan, cook and clean up after one meal, and that's it. Now, if you've got a family and they're eating, more than once a day, then of course this doesn't really apply to you. But when you get down to it, it really does free up a lot of mental space that would otherwise be taken up by food. The sixth advantage I found is that eating one meal a day means that I can have a nice big meal where I feel very satisfied at the end of it. I think this is a very individual thing. I think some people do really well with small meals and they feel very satisfied at the end of the meal. But I'm just not like that. I've found, that generally speaking, if I'm trying to break up, however much food I need to eat in a day, if I'm trying to break that down into small meals, I never really feel full. And when I don't really feel full, then it's like I feel kind of just hungry all day. And that's pretty annoying. But what I found with OMAD is that I can have that one big meal. And at the end of the meal, I feel nice and full. I don't feel overly full, but I feel good and full, and I feel satisfied. And so I definitely prefer that way of eating. Now, all that being said, OMAD's not for everybody. Some people feel really bad if they just eat one meal a day, like they can't eat enough at that one meal, or they feel hungry all day. And so it's important to really analyze for yourself, how do you feel when you're eating OMAD, and does it work for you? So thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.